Today, I'm diving into a comparison of two of AMD's best budget beasts, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D and the Ryzen 7 5700X3D. Before we get into that, let's do a quick history rundown. In 2022, AMD shook up the gaming landscape with the Ryzen 7 5800X3D. It offered elite gaming performance at an affordable price. Fast forward to 2023, and we saw the limited release of the 5600X3D, which was only available at Micro Center brick and mortar locations. So if you weren't near one, you were pretty much SOL. Now, in 2024, AMD has dropped another bombshell with the Ryzen 7 5700X3D, a budget beast for the tried and true AM4 platform, which is now 8 years old and still going strong. So why am I featuring this CPU so much? It's because it's my new pick for the best pound-for-pound gaming CPU and hands down the best upgrade for any Tarkov player who's on an AM4 platform right now. For those of you eyeing the X3Ds, the 5700X3D costs $249 retail and the 5600X3D comes in at $229. The 5600X3D is a 6-core CPU with slightly higher boost clocks, while the 5700X3D has 8 cores and slightly lower clocks than the 5 series. But here's the critical part for me. Both chips have 96 megabytes of that sweet L3 cache, which Tarkov loves so much, a lot more than clock speed. And in most cases, Tarkov doesn't seem to use more than 6 cores. So as I mentioned before, the X3Ds are the best drop-in upgrade for existing AM4 owners because the cost is low relatively, and if you sell your existing CPU, you can come out with a huge performance increase for a relatively small cost. Without changing the RAM, without changing the motherboard or any other components, a X3D drop-in on any AM4 platform setup in Tarkov is going to see huge gains. So the TLDR is that after a day of running both systems, they essentially feel exactly the same in terms of user experience. When I compare the numbers, they're usually within 10% of each other. And in some runs, the 5700X3D will lead, and sometimes the 5600X3D will lead. And I think that has to do with Tarkov's inherent RNG, which is what the game's built on. So even if you do the same run on the same system 5 times, you're going to see a good variance of numbers. But as Tarkov players, you start to get a feel of the range that you're seeing. And as I mentioned before, the two chips feel pretty much exactly the same in 1080, 1440 when paired with the same motherboard, RAM, and GPU. So if it were up to me and I'm upgrading from an older AM4 chip, I would consider the X3D because it's such a cheap upgrade for a large performance gain. If I were looking to upgrade into a new tier, then I would probably look to spend more and get a 7800 X3D rather than go from a 56 to a 5700 X3D. So between the two, personally, I would, even though it's only $20, when you're talking about trying to keep the cost low, that can make a big difference. So personally, I'm going with the 5600 X3D between these two if I have the choice. Either way, they are both amazing values. It's like comparing an A+ with an A++. They're both excellent, and I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed getting either one. But if you're interested in seeing them objectively compared, then feel free to use the timestamps to skip around and check the results. As always, thank you for sharing your valuable time with me here. Creating content filled with unbiased info to enrich your gaming journey is my top priority. I have a passion for researching, comparing, and analyzing information. It's what I do professionally as well, and I have a love for Tarkov. It's been really fulfilling to be able to merge these two passions and contribute to our community's enrichment. I feel like I've always been known as the techie guy within my circle of friends, kind of like the go-to person for advice on upgrades and advancements and tech in general. I feel like with Pyurologie, I've been able to become that techie friend for the entire Tarkov community. And it's incredibly gratifying to know that my insights and discoveries over the years are enhancing others' gaming experiences. So being able to contribute to the community in this way has really filled me with a lot of joy, and it's been an amazing experience. So from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to express my gratitude. Thank you so much. Now it's time to dive back into the grind, and I hope to see you in the next one.